Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. Today's video is going to be a quick tutorial to show you how I made Applejack from My Little Pony. This video is a part 2 to a My Little Pony cake that I've made previously, and I will put the link to that video in the description box below. I'm starting out with some light orange fondant that I've added some Tylose powder to, and I'm rolling that into a fat teardrop shape with a very thin end. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to take that thin end and point it straight up, and then at the back part of the pony, I'm going to indent either side with my fingers so the back legs have a spot to kind of slot into. Zoe's Fancy Cakes has a great video on how to make My Little Pony cupcake toppers, and that was a huge help for me when I was making my pony, so I'm going to link that in the description box below. I'm going to set my body aside to dry and move on to the legs. For the front legs, I'm just rolling out a long teardrop shape, and then I'm kind of going to smush the fat end of that against my counter to flatten the bottom and just kind of round off the top. And once I'm done that, I'm going to set those aside to dry as well. I'm going to repeat the exact same process on my back legs, but I'm actually going to flatten the very top of that, and then using my modeling tool, you could also use a toothpick, I'm just making a small indent a little bit down to look more like the pony's hind leg, the way it bends. Once I'm done, I'm going to set everything aside to dry for at least an hour so it firms up a bit, and then using some piping gel, I'm going to adhere all my legs to the body. I let that sit overnight to really harden up before I moved on to making the head, because you're going to be pushing your head onto that pointed part on the body and you don't want it to bend over or break. I started out with a ball of fondant and just held it up to my pony to make sure it wasn't too big or too small. And then I rolled that out into a fat teardrop shape, and using my balling tool and my fingers, I just looked at a reference photo of Applejack and sculpted her head. Once I was happy with the way that looked, I pressed it onto the body and then just kind of reshaped the back of her head to be more rounded so it wasn't flat. I rolled out white, black, and light green fondant and then used circle cutters to cut out the shape for her eyes. Next, I rolled out 2 small white balls of fondant and added those for the reflection of light in her eyes, and then using a fine tip paintbrush and some black food coloring, I lined the top of her eyes and added some eyelashes. I rolled out yellow fondant for her mane and tail and just positioned those how I thought they looked good, and added a piece of red fondant to the ends of each one as well. Take 2 small pieces of that orange fondant and shape them into little triangles, and then using a toothpick or your modeling tool, just indent them for her ears and attach those using some water. Using the end of my paintbrush, I indented a small hole where I was going to be placing her tail, and I also used some floral wire to help it stick up a bit. For her butt tattoo, I added the red and green for the little apples, and then using some white food coloring, I added another little tattoo thing by her eye. You could also just roll out really small pieces of white fondant for that as well. And then you're all done. You can see here that I have placed her on a cake with some other ponies that I've made, and I have linked the video on how to make that cake in the description box below. This is surprisingly easy, and you can pretty much make any of the ponies with the basis of this tutorial, and I think it turned out really awesome. And thank you so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week.